Hi you, King here, and what to expect for Avatar 2025. Bending and space. Now that statement is pretty out there. But come on now, when it comes to innovation, you must always be pushing the limits. And with how fast technology was evolving, especially with the various nations working together, it would only make sense that with their continuous collaboration, that they would eventually strive to reach a whole new frontier. And they would be easily capable of it by utilizing the various bending that has grown from the Standard 4. As it is more than obvious by now that as humans have evolved in the Avatar world, so has benders have with their bending. To the point where you have a bender for any type of situation or problem. And that's why it's easy for me to say if the people of the Avatar world wanted to go to a different planet, all they would have to do is just get a handful of genius inventors and a couple dozen of different types of benders. Of course, they'll still need to build a spacefaring shuttle and ship and spend a couple of years preparing for and planning out the entire trip, but once they have, they would be good to go. And I would like to spend the rest of this time breaking down each intricate part of having benders in space and why it would be the next natural step in the overall Avatar world's innovation. With first up, getting yourself a couple of genius inventors like Varric or Teal's father. People who are just naturally good with engineering and could build a technological vessel blindfolded. Because these people will not only be the ones building the rocket, but making sure it has a significant energy source and that it doesn't fall apart or explode when in orbit. They could also be the ones to create suits, armor, and mech for space traversal. And even helpful, supportive, spacefaring robots. I mean, after Korra and her team fought against a giant mech, nothing is off limits. And all of this newly created tech could be powered by spirit vines, along with the entire shuttle itself, to give the vessel the overall explosive energy it needs to blast out of the planet's orbit, and to fly it all the way to either the moon or another planet. Me preferably would want another planet. Why? And some Avatar fans might call this blasphemy, but this would give us a chance to explore aliens in the Avatar world. Conquering invaders who aren't just from another nation that will force the various benders and non-benders to work together because they now have a common enemy. But even if we don't take that route and the story takes a more realistic turn similar to how America versus Russia and the overall space race turned out, it would still be epic because it would be a nation facing another nation just to reach another planet first for the overall resources that planet could provide or just for the territory rights, claiming ownership over an entire planet. A planet of which, even if it's uninhabitable, they can utilize their bending to terraform the lands to make it more suitable for life. Basically creating a new world full of new possibilities. And if they're fighting over this new land, it would be awesome to see the various fights take place in space. As you would have firebenders in teched out spacesuits utilizing their jet fire to propel them through the void and using lightning to shoot at their enemies, while also having airbenders make sure no breathable air escapes into the vacuum of space if the hull of the shuttle is breached by any potential battles, keeping your fellow spacebenders of dying of suffocation. And speaking of airbenders, if they're a practitioner of Guru Lahima's lessons about severing all ties to physical attachments and through doing so gaining the power of flight, then they would be a huge asset in said space missions, as they would be able to pull back any spacebenders who don't have the firebending power enough to get themselves back to the shuttle. And they will also be able to fight too if armed with technological gauntlets that allows them to shoot out either electricity, flames, or even energy. But some of you might be asking, if they're detached from all attachments, why would they even assist in a space mission? But just like Zahir, maybe the answer is they have a goal that drives them forward no matter what. And that goal could be as simple as them believing in the unlimited possibilities of what reaching a new planet could do for the humans of the Avatar world, and doing whatever it takes to reach this goal, not letting anyone hold them back. And another skill airbenders can provide to overall space bending is spiritual projection. Because even if they either haven't reached the planet or they do, they can project their spirits to the planet or the various parts of it to check out for any potential surprises that could be harmful or beneficial to them. basically acting as a ghostly scout, relaying various important information that would be beneficial preparing for before actually reaching that location on the new planet, without any worry of anything harmful happening to the spirit because it can't be touched. And with multiple spirit projectors, you can cover many ground on the new planet without wasting valuable resources. As for waterbenders, they would be important for the spacefaring mission because of the obvious reasons that they could heal themselves or others while going to this planet or when they're already on it. Water healing is a very important necessity because honestly in space you don't know what could happen. You might get burned by a rocket thruster or one of the opposing firebenders. You might get hit by a shard of metal from one of the many technological devices that would be on the vessels. And when you're bleeding out or are in agonizing pain, you'll definitely want a skilled waterbender present who have the medical know-how to water heal and make you A-okay again. But waterbenders wouldn't be on the spacefaring mission just to heal, as their ability to manipulate water would go very far in terraforming this new planet. One ability that could go very far into helping this planet become suitable for life is creating clouds. Because if they shot many giant tanks of water to this planet, not only would they be able to create lakes and rivers, and then they could turn the vast amount of water into vapors that would then become clouds. And then they could control the cloud patterns to form them around spots on the planet that would be better suited for their new settlement. And those clouds would naturally turn into rain clouds, creating a water cycle on this new planet. A water cycle that could be very helpful for growing crops and farming, which would also be super easy for waterbenders as they can control the water within plants. So not just bringing tanks of water to this new planet, but also bringing tanks of seeds too, to birth plant life if it already doesn't have it. And with the rain made to water the seeds planted, they would grow into crops and hopefully forests and jungles, eventually creating as a bonus breathable oxygen on the planet. And waterbenders can expedite the time that it would naturally take by bending the water within the plants, aka plant bending, forcing the plants to grow and spread at a faster pace than they would naturally be able to do. Being able to grow huge forests and jungles at such a fast scale that they will be able to cover the large grounds of this planet to better have an easier time terraforming the rest of it. And like I said, if the planet itself is already habitable for life, already having alien life on it, so it would already have alien jungles worth of plant life, they would be able to hijack that jungle with plant bending to use against the aliens if they are shown to be hostile towards them. That's if, metaphorically speaking, their alien plant life has water within them. So many crazy theoreticals I'm throwing down. And here's another one. Let's say this new planet has minerals, stones, or crystals that prevent any type of spirit power. Then the ability of spiritual projection would be utterly useless for scouting the various parts of this planet that has yet to be covered physically. Unless, of course, you have skilled earthbenders who have the ability to use seismic sense. Through said ability, they can scout out the planet through powerful vibrations they can send through the ground. So they would be able to sense if there are alien life forms on this newfound planet's terrain. But that's if the airbenders can't spiritual project. But if they can, then they can work alongside them to have an easier time scouting out the planet. Being like radars working with satellites, perfect combination. And earthbenders can very much work with waterbenders with helping them terraform the planet. Because if the planet's terrain is too naturally hard and dry for plant life to grow on it, then earthbenders can help with that by smoothing and softening it out with waterbenders to mudbend it, to allow for swamps of plant life to be able to grow, which is better than nothing. And earthbenders can also assist with space battles, as if there are any asteroids just floating in the void, they can grab onto it with earthbending and fling it at their enemies' vessels, basically creating a whole new form of bending called asteroid bending, shooting them like meteors at their enemies. As Toph already proved, earthbenders can bend space earth that isn't from Earth. And they could do so while wearing teched out spacesuits that generates jet fire to propel them through space, similar to how firebenders do so naturally. And most importantly, certain earthbenders could be in charge of making sure the overall space vessel stays stable by utilizing metal bending to quickly repair any ruptures to the ship's hull. That way, airbenders don't have to work too hard to make sure oxygen doesn't leave the ship, because metal benders will be there to quickly close the holes that appear on it. Plus, metal benders in general will play a very important part in putting down settlements for this new planet. Because if they have enough metal with them, they can create towns and cities within days or weeks instead of months or years. But even with many buildings and agriculture, you'll still need a sufficient energy source to power this new civilization's appliances and technology. And this is where energy bending comes in. Because you see, I made a previous theory video about a secret fifth nation called the Energy Colony that is made primarily of the secret fifth bending type, energy benders. So to better understand this section, go check out that video. But to put it in layman terms, energy benders would also go on this spacefaring mission, and they would be in charge of maintaining the energy of the spirit energy vines that would be powering all of their spacefaring technology, while also having batteries be made from them to be used on this New World settlement and be maintained by the energy benders. But yeah, that's what I believe could be possible with all the benders working together, space benders. If you agree, like, share, subscribe, and follow, and comment down below your thoughts.